believing. He had to believe. And believing has to do with trusting. But not just trusting what's easy to trust, because all kinds of people are validating it for you when you look around and you say, oh, I believe, I trust this God who everyone else is saying they trust too. There's nothing important about that mode of thinking with regards to trusting. In the same way that it was important for Jesus, trust God has become a cliche. I trust God. Bumper stickers, trust God. Stupid. What it should really say is conform to us. Join our group. Trust God has been made into this cliche type idiot phrase. Trust God means nothing. To the Son of God, trusting the Father was an imperative part of this belief, because he didn't know. Because he wasn't a God who would have no problem trusting the Father. He wasn't a God who would have no problem believing that he was the Messiah. He wasn't a God who would have no problem laying down his life for his brothers. Those 12 guys who represented something deeper, the remnant that God was saving. And for Jesus to say, the Father loves me because I lay down my life, because I choose not to take up my own will and purpose, to follow that talking snake, to follow that instinct, to follow that devil that's inside my thoughts, trying to tell me what I should do, what I should grab with my own hand, because I lay down my life instead, because I do the Father's will, I do God's will, I do His purpose instead of my own purpose. That's why the Father loves me. To say that, and yet to be a God who really would have no problem laying down His life if He were a God. To say that means you make a mockery out of God's love. You say, God loves me because I lay down my life. Well, if I'm a God, there's really not a problem. So God loving me for doing what is so easy for me to do isn't really love. There's no logic, there's no reason to it. There is no reasonableness to that idea. And to say that, well, God took away His knowledge of being a God, that's just changing the theology to suit what you want it to say, of course. If you're going to say something, you got to stick with it. Can't just change it all the way down the line. The theology says He was fully man and fully God. The theology says that's why He was able to do miracles, because He was a God. So you say, well, how could He do miracles then if He weren't a God? He didn't do miracles. As were His own words, He didn't do miracles. The finger of God, the power of God, that which lived inside him because he was the Son of God, the Messiah, the supernatural Messiah that was predicted. The power of God did the miracles because he was the Son of God. It's crucial to understand who Jesus really was. It's not just some side material. It's completely and totally crucial to understanding. If you don't understand, then you might as well be talking about some Roman god. If you don't really understand who Jesus really was, then you can't understand. You can't understand the point. You can't understand the message. You can't understand the point of the message. You can't understand the message of the point of the story. You can't understand anything because nothing makes sense if Jesus was a God. Jesus was turned into a God posthumously. Probably don't want to use that word since I don't know how to pronounce it, probably. Posthumously. By humans who wanted to create a system that they could control so that they could buy and sell what they craved to get, what all animals crave to get. Buying and selling. Buying means you own it. And owning it means you possess it. Possessing it means you control it. Controlling it means you can sell it. And selling it means you can get some currency in return. The currency that the animal loves. The agreement. People, other humans saying, yes, you're right. I'm on your side. I'm in your club. I'm going to stand behind you and stand shoulder to shoulder with you and say, yes, we're right. And the more agreement we have, the righter we become in this world when we look around. Buying and selling. Buying and selling the way to God.